Sometimes you read articles that are just crazy. They're crazy. The fact of the matter is this. The Eagles' window is just opening while the Dallas Cowboys' window is quickly closing. Dallas still stinks. Yo, by the way, Dingbat here. Hope everybody's having a great day. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you hang it in there. There is no way in the world that the Eagles' window is closing anytime soon. It is just started to open while the Dallas Cowboys' window is quickly closing. And every once in a while, you read an article and you know it's totally BS. Now, before we get into this and all the other stuff, if you're new to the channel, you like the content, make sure you hit that like button. More importantly, make sure you subscribe to the most censored, the most throttled Eagles content creator in all of the internet. And if you've been subscribed for a while, I want to thank you so much for the support you give to me. It truly, truly means a lot. Now, before we get into this and this article that I read that I got to call BS to, we have a few things to talk about. First, we all wondered, what is DeAndre Hopkins all about? What's he all about? Is he all about the winning, or is he all about the money, even though it ain't all that? Well, I guess the money is what matters more, because today, breaking, Titans signing wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins to a 2-year, $26 million deal worth up to $32 million with incentives. All I can say to DeAndre Hopkins is, I guess you don't want to win a Super Bowl. I guess you really don't want to win a championship, because the last team that has a chance to go in the Super Bowl is the Tennessee Titans. Forget about it. It's over for them. They're done. It ain't happening. So, yeah, we wanted to know what DeAndre Hopkins was all about. Now we know. He's about getting paid. Who was going to give him the most money? He would have been better off going to the Patriots than going to the Tennessee Titans, or taking less and going to Buffalo or Kansas City or Philly or Dallas or wherever. But this dude wanted to go to Tennessee, where you're going to lose. You're going to lose. So good luck with all that. Now, speaking of good luck and real good luck, I got to say good luck to Deshaun Jackson on his retirement, if he in fact has retired. Now, he put a post up on Instagram that made it sound like he is getting ready to retire. Former Eagles wide receiver Deshaun Jackson appears to have signaled his retirement from football in a recent post on Instagram. This is what Jackson said: "One for one. Did it my way, 15 years strong. Never another like it. Pound one for one. One of one. I'm sorry, one for one. One of one." But if Deshaun Jackson is retiring, it is only fair, it is only right that the Eagles bring him back and let him retire as an Eagle. He should never have left and went to Washington. And I'll never, ever, ever stop blaming Chip Dip Kelly for that whole thing that happened with Deshaun Jackson coming off his best year. You cut him. You try to say and make it sound like he's part of gangs and stuff, basically to ruin his reputation and give yourself an excuse for cutting him. It was a horrible, horrible thing, and I'm frankly embarrassed about it. Now, Howie Roseman made up for that years to come when the Eagles brought Deshaun Jackson back. I know it didn't work out and he got injured, but it was nice that he came back and that we didn't end the whole relationship with Deshaun and the Eagles on what Chip Dip Kelly did. I think Deshaun Jackson, in my opinion, I think Deshaun Jackson is probably the greatest deep threat I've ever seen. I don't think I've seen it somebody else who was as scary a deep threat as Deshaun Jackson. And I truly mean that. It didn't matter if you put two people on him, whatever. Deshaun Jackson was so fast, he was going to get open, and there was nothing anybody could do about it. Deshaun Jackson, I guess there's some questions about if he's a Hall of Famer, that kind of thing. I don't see him as a Hall of Famer, but I do think he's one of the best deep threats to ever play the game. If they're going to put you in for just being the greatest deep threat, then yeah, he belongs in. But other than that, no, he wouldn't get in. But he's got to be one of the greatest deep threats ever. I think his average for the big plays are the best in NFL history. It's like one of the best in NFL history. So I think Deshaun Jackson definitely belongs in the Hall of Fame. Definitely belongs in the Eagles Hall of Fame. We'll say that. I think he goes in the Eagles Hall of Fame, and I think that he should retire as a Philadelphia Eagle if he's in fact retiring. But only time will tell. And to me, Deshaun Jackson, greatest deep threat ever. And when he went to Washington and he came back to play us, he killed us, man. It was horrible watching Deshaun Jackson in Washington just come into Philly, beat us all the time. I hated it. But Deshaun Jackson, one of the greatest deep threats I've ever seen in NFL history. There's no question about it. Now, I got to talk about this article, right? There's just some things that just drive me nuts. Some things drive me nuts. And there was this article, right? And the article said this. And this was on SportsIllustrated.com. It said, 49ers and Eagles among 11 NFL teams with closing Super Bowl windows. And the 49ers were ranked number 1 as the team with the quickest closing window. The second team with the quickest closing window they put on there, the Philadelphia Eagles. How on earth do they come up with this? I don't get at all. They obviously did not look at what Howie Roseman has done to this roster. They have not looked at the players that we have drafted, and I think it's absolutely insane. They had Dallas on this list at 8. Now, Dallas belongs on this list. There's no question about it to me. Because Dallas, first of all, has a quarterback that is going to go into this season, and he's going to be 30 years old. I think he turns 30. Oh, I don't remember when Dak turns 30, but it's sometime early this. I think it's the end of July or August, something like that. But he's going to be 30. They've got a lot of players going to be who are 30 or going to be 30. Now, this is what they said about the Dallas Cowboys, right? The window might be closing fast on the Cowboys with quarterback Dak Prescott in the third year of a 4-year extension. Prescott would have helped his contract situation in January had he delivered a postseason victory against the 49ers in the divisional round, where so many Cowboy seasons abruptly ended since the glory years of the 90s. They stink. Dallas hasn't advanced to an NFC Championship game since 1995 and have won only 2 playoff games since Prescott became the starter in 2016. The Cowboys, who released running back Zeke Elliott in March, have reached a crossroads and will need to decide whether Prescott has what it takes to take them to the Super Bowl. This might be a make-or-break season for Prescott, but the Cowboys could be reluctant to start a full rebuild and give him a short-term contract similar to Vikings with Kirk Cousins. Why not be like Kirk Cousins? I mean, he's pretty much exactly Kirk Cousins anyways. Both a strong nucleus of players featuring edge rusher Parsons and CeeDee Lamb, Cowboys shouldn't be afraid to explore other options if Prescott doesn't deliver this season. So they mentioned 2 players. They don't talk about Zach Martin. They don't talk about Smith. They don't talk about DeMarcus Lawrence. They don't talk about any of these older players. Stephon Gilmore. They don't talk about Brandon Cook's going to be 30 this year when he's playing. They've got some older guys. How, with a 30-year-old quarterback who hasn't been able to get past the first round of playoffs, how is their window more open than the Philadelphia Eagles? It absolutely makes no sense, right? And here's what they said about the Eagles. I'm sorry, I said the Eagles were number 2. The Eagles were actually number 3. My fault. Here's what they said. Unlike the Bills, the Eagles probably don't feel a sense of urgency because GM Howie Roseman has a knack for quickly retooling rosters, and they won the Super Bowl in 2017. But many veterans such as Kelsey, Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox likely decided to return to Philadelphia for another year because they wanted to win a Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts, the star quarterback who leaped into stardom last season with his play on the field. This likely will be Hurts' last year with those veterans, and it might be hard for Roseman to maintain a winning roster with Hurts signing a massive extension to stay in Philadelphia. This is complete crap. Roseman, however, got off to a productive start drafting defensive tackle Jalen Carter, edge rusher Nolan Smith in the first round this year. Hitting on draft picks is a big reason why Mahomes and the Chiefs remain competitive despite a tight salary cap. The Eagles are in a good place to compete for the foreseeable future with wide receivers Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, cornerbacks Bradbury and Slay, but nothing is ever guaranteed in the NFL. The Eagles waited several decades to enfranchise for a Super Bowl. Who is this moron in this article, by the way? Anyways, Gilberto Manzano sounds like a Cowboy fan. Really, he has to throw in the took for us how long to win a Super Bowl. What the hell is that? First of all, I gotta say, I gotta rebut what he says about the Eagles here, right? He says Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Jason Kelce all could be in their last year. That's true. But what did the Eagles do? They've replaced Fletcher Cox. We got 2 defensive tackles, 2 first-round defensive tackles. You got Cam Jurgens ready to take over center position for Jason Kelce. So you've already filled those 2 positions when the time comes. You could argue with Brandon Graham, you might need another defensive end, but you also drafted Nolan Smith, who's going to be hopefully a pretty good edge rusher for the Philadelphia Eagles. Here's the thing. They talk about Jalen Hurts' contract also. Jalen Hurts' contract is set up that in 3-4 years, it's still a minimal hit for the Philadelphia Eagles. It's not going to hurt them at all. So for the next 3 or 4 years, the Philadelphia Eagles are going to be Super Bowl contenders. Now, I'm not saying there are not places that you're going to have to fill. I think you're going to have to probably draft another corner within the next few years. You're obviously going to need another right tackle. We'll see about the right guard situation. However, when you look at this team, Jalen Hurts, 24. He'll be 25 going into this year. You have Devontae Smith, 24. A.J. Brown, just turned 26. Dallas Goedert, he's young. You have your left side of the offensive line is completely set, right? Jordan Mailata, 26. Landon Dickerson, 23. Cam Jurgens, I think he's 22, 23 years old himself. So the whole left side of your line is set for years to come. Your offense is set for years to come. We know how the Eagles handle the running back situation. When you look at the defensive side of the ball, yes, you're going to have to fill holes at the cornerback position. Pause. Yes, you've got some young defensive players coming in to fill for Fletcher Cox, for those guys. But they've already filled most of those positions. There's still a few positions to fill, but you can't tell me that the Eagles' window is closing when you have a quarterback who is 24 years old, a franchise quarterback. His contract is not going to hurt you for the next 3-4 years. By the time his contract is big money, big numbers, I think it's like 2027. By that time, the Eagles will redo his whole contract. The Eagles and him set up a contract very similar to the Chiefs. And the fact that this article is pointing out that because in this article they say that the only 2 teams' windows not closing are the Chiefs and the Bengals. And they credit Patrick Mahomes' contract and the way it's structured. Well, the Eagles did a similar thing with Jalen Hurts and his contract. So this article is complete garbage. The truth of the matter is the Cowboys have a 30-year-old quarterback, a quarterback that has not won or got out of the second round of the playoffs. Their window is closing way faster than Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles have filled, I guess I would say, with the 30-year-old players that they have on their roster, they've already filled half of those spots, are already set to go in the future. Howie's got a few moves to make. Like I said, right tackle, I think you need another corner. We'll see about the safety, but your linebackers are young. Your defensive tackles are young. Your defensive line is pretty young now, except for Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox. But you're set. Nolan Smith, you still have Hassan Reddick. He's 28 years old. I don't see how the Eagles' window is closing anytime soon. Matter of fact, the Eagles' window is just opening. And that's facts. That's facts. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section about this. I think this was a biased article because there's no way that the Eagles are the third smallest window or third quickest closing window when you have a franchise quarterback 24 years old. Most of your offense is set for years to come. Half of your defense is set for years to come. You can't tell me that our window is closing and the Cowboys window is still open or more open than us. Ain't no chance. With that said, take care. Talk to you later. Of course, don't be a dingbat. Remember, it's Howie Vision. We're all just living in it. You know, it's crazy because I would say that Oh God, in the last 6, 7 years, I might have gone to like one movie a year. That's it, like one movie a year. I hardly ever go see movies. This summer, for whatever reason, I've been to the movie theater a ton. Okay, I saw Transformers, I saw The Flash, um, I just saw Sounds of Freedom. Oppenheimer's coming out this week. I want to see that. I want to see the Mission Impossible. I'm going to go to like 5, 6 movies by the time the summer's over. All through the summer. It's crazy. I have never ever done that. In like, oh man, maybe since I was a kid. Kind of crazy. And some of the movies have absolutely stunk. Some of them have been incredible. So it's been up and down, but it's kind of cool going back to the movies again. I feel like I'm back in like the 80s or the 90s. Denzel Washington out.